some of the young players like a Devonta Smith, this is the first time he's dealt with this rivalry. Now, this rivalry means something to the people of Philadelphia. I mean, I couldn't emphasize that more. If you want to endear yourself to the people of Philadelphia, Mr. Smith, show up on Sunday. You play well and you help them beat the Cowboys, you're well on your way to people accepting you here in Philly. But you got to get it done against the Cowboys, man. You got to show up with a bad attitude on Sunday.
Absolutely. Welcome back. National Football Show, Dan Sileo. What did my friend Garry Cobb say last week? After the Atlanta Falcons, he says, hey, let's just take a look at this football team after 3 games as we get ready for the Dallas game before we start throwing rose petals at these guys. 32 points against Atlanta was nice, but we're going to find out a little more. And I'm paraphrasing here, but this is what Garry said last week. He was like, let's pump the brakes here on this thing. And Garry Cobb from Fox 29 joins us here on the National Football Show. Words came to true here, didn't a little bit. Played itself out there at Lincoln Financial. Thanks for doing this, Garry.
No, my pleasure. You know, it's this is the NFL. You know, this is, you know, you got good teams, and the Eagles really, you know, they came out, you know, and I got to give the young team credit. They came out and they played hard. Started out that game, you know, they were coming out to win. So they took it to them. They were really outplaying a veteran team, a Niner team that's been to the Super Bowl. But, you know, a good team like that, they're not going to play that way the entire game. So you had better put some points on the board. And in football, even though, you know, you get all kind of yardage and everything, they don't give you points for yardage. You're going like, we got 50 yards. We get 5 points. No, you don't get any points unless you kick a field goal or you push the ball into the end zone. And because it's like that, when you get in the red zone, you got to amp up. And rather than amp up, you know, they got sloppy when they got in the red zone. You see, the first time when they got in there after that long pass, they got a big penalty. The whole left side of the line is offside. Now, that's not a good sign, you know, because you're supposed to get more focus. And you notice that San Francisco got more focus when you got in that red zone, both when they had the ball and they got that way defensively. You saw the growl start to come up. You know, they're going like, we're getting pushed around. And San Francisco started playing harder. You know, they really, for whatever reason, the Eagles had an advantage on them early on. They were outplaying them. They were taking it to them. They were beating them to the punch. They were getting off on the ball. They wouldn't let them run. They had 7 yards rushing in the first half. 7 yards. And they wound up with 117. So, you know, good teams, you know, we know about that. When you got a good team, guys go in, they start talking to each other. Guys start challenging each other. Hey, such and such. Hey, we need something. The offense will start talking to the defense. The defense start talking to the offense. And you know, you got a team that knows what it takes to win. After a while, they're going to start playing on that level. And the Eagles made the mistake of not getting any points. You know, they only got 3 points out of all that work they did offensively. And you got to do better in the red zone. And I got to point some at the coach. Come on. Look, start get too tricky. You're a genius. I'm an offensive genius. So I'm going to do it. Look, when we get it down on the 1 yard line, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and we're going to do it. We are quarterback sneaking that ball, or we're coming up the gut. We are not playing any fancy stuff. We're talking to offensive line. Look, we need a yard, fellas. And you got to punch that ball in. You can't be going through all this stuff because immediately you start out, you're rolling out and everything. That says something about what you think of your own team. And he's got to impress and believe those guys can get a yard, because you see Kyle Shanahan, you see how I bet you he was barking at his guys after a while, because it seemed like that in his play calls, because they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. They don't care what defense you're in. We are running the football. That's the way they play. And the Eagles have to have some of that. You got to talk to your offensive line. You got to talk. Look, guys, we're going to run the ball, I don't care who's over there, what they're playing. We are running the football. So you had better come ready to block. And you guys, your running backs, you guys are going to run the ball. And you got to have that attitude. And so when you get down on the 1 yard line or you get in the red zone, you can run play action because people are going to respect your running game. But you start running play action and you never run the ball and really you exert your will on the other team, then you don't go for the fakes as much. And you can see that the Niners were ready for all that little trick stuff. They were ready for everything. And I got to give DeMeco Ryans a lot of credit because he played zone on that last play when they were going to do that Philly special. Now, you got to know the kid, Greg Ward, felt like he was naked coming over there. And everybody's going like,
Right
they were waiting on him. I mean, nobody bit anything. They didn't buy any fake. I could see Jalen Hurts. He was trying to go out. I mean, it looked like a joke. It looked like some kids out, playing touch football or something.
Gary, let me throw this at you, Gary. And everything you just said, exactly what we saw. I thought that the Eagles really dominated them at the point of attack going into the half. Then they give up that stupid 7 under 50 seconds. That's going to deflate the room a little bit. And I do believe, like you said, Kyle Shanahan went into halftime, chewed his guys' asses out, both lines. They came out in the second half. They may have lost that first half at the point of attack, but I thought both the 49ers O-line and D-line started taking control of the football game. Mailata, he didn't get dominated, but in the second half, Bosa was getting to the quarterback, and I blame a little bit of that on the quarterback here and his inexperience because, to me, Gary, I think he wasn't staggering his snap count. You saw Mailata thinking he was offsides a few times. That's on the quarterback. Remember when Elway used to do that? He'd get 10, 15 yards a game on that snap count. He's got to be a little smarter than that. And I agree with you on Sirianni. 20-20, dude, your meal ticket is made in the red zone, and you've got to push that thing in. Philly special. I mean, guys, was that for the fans? What the hell are you doing here, man? You've got to set an attitude. And but this, all that being said, though, Gary, I went like this. If I'm a defense, you're telling me I gave up 6 points and 17 points in 2 weeks. I don't know. Going into the Dallas game, I feel pretty good about myself after the first 2 ball games going against Dallas. Do you?
Well, really, I'm scolding this team, but in reality, I know that they got a lot of young players at key positions, and young players make mistakes. As long as they make it going 100%, I can't really beat up on them too bad. So, it's kind of like when you go in the locker room, you say things that maybe you don't say in front of the media. You say something to your guys and you let them know that, hey, I'm expecting more. And they're capable of playing better. Like they could have come out with points. Also, Jalen Reagor on that deep route where he went out of bounds.
Jesus.
Kid, you got to know where you're at. Come on, kid. Look, do you know the rules? Okay? You can't run out of bounds, come back in and catch the ball. I mean, I know he was being squeezed, but you got to know where you're at. Come on. You got to know where you're at. It's as if he didn't even realize he went out of bounds. Now, come on. How could you go out of bounds and you don't realize you went out of bounds? That shows, you got a player that's not either real sharp, or he just got to get more precise about what he's doing, because he should have been putting up a fight not to let him drive him out of bounds like that. Because look how important that was. If they get that 7, you got a completely different game. But once they were unable to score, that was a shot in the arm for the 49ers. Here, we've been outplayed the entire first half, and we lead out. We're walking off with the lead. They knew they got outplayed the entire first half, but they walked off the field with the lead. Now that says inexperience. That says a young team when you got a young quarterback. And Jalen has, I haven't been able to look at and just see how open the guys were, because he might be being too cautious with the football. You're not going to have guys open like he did at Oklahoma or like he did at Alabama. You're just going to have a little window, and you got to put that ball in there, and you got to let it go. You can't just stand back there and you're holding the ball. that could be the case, but, I'm not sure because I haven't had a chance to look at the all 22 to see how open guys were or whether they were open or whether they were covered. But that's something the coaching has to do, but they've got to get better. You can't complete 12 passes and expect to win in the NFL. That's not going to get it. 12 completions and you're going to win. You're not going to win many games like that. So they got to improve in that area. But this is not a shock. I mean, we knew that Jalen he needed to grow. I think he knows he needs to grow. So, he's got the kind of attitude where he will listen. But that's the type of work they need. And who knows? In the long run, they probably got a favor yesterday by being, it's kind of good when somebody, puts it to you and they let you know you got to get better. And their passing game has got to get better. They have got to, and I don't know, Jordan Howard might be, they have him on the practice squad. You got to be able to just run tough. You need some tough inside running. Everything is not just about speed. Yes, you want speed, but it's like all of their running backs. They're speed guys. I mean, I like the rookie kid, Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, I forget his name. Kenneth, he's a good back, 14. The kid is quick and everything, but you don't need all quick backs. You don't need all your backs. You need somebody, and I think maybe Jordan Howard, maybe they'll reactivate him, but you got to have somebody that can get that inside yard. Somebody can go in there and grind a little bit, and I think he's capable of that. He's done that in the past, but they're going to learn from this, and it's probably good to get smacked upside the head because some guys, that's the only way you learn. Having somebody, give you a hug and tell you, you got to get better. No, sometimes you need a kick in the butt, and it's the best way for people to make you improve because they have got to step it up. So Jalen Hurts, he's got to improve his game, whether it's the receivers getting open, but they got to get rid of the ball more, and you got to complete more than 12 passes in order to win in the NFL. They got to get sharper when they get in the red zone. The defense, you leave a guy wide open, you blow a coverage and leave the guy wide open in the red zone. Come on. That's not NFL football. That's the way they play, in some of the Bush leagues. Where I thought you had him. No, no. That's not. You don't play that way when you're getting paid, especially as much as these guys getting paid. Look, you are paid to know what you're supposed to be doing. What was the coverage? Who blew that coverage? I don't know which one of them blew the coverage, but you can't just leave a guy wide open down by the goal line. Look, if you just look at the comparison, you got the Niners with guys coming in, they just had a couple guys come off. Just showed up. They signed the guys. And the Eagles here have been working all offseason, and you get in the red zone and you leave a guy and you're sitting there, no, I thought you had him. No, I had him. That's Bush League. And I don't know who was responsible for that. I saw it was on Nelson's side. But I'm sorry. Somebody's got to get their butt chewed out. The coach and everybody has to do with that. Because that's not NFL football where you leave a guy wide open like that. You look at the comparison. They had just stopped the Eagles down on their doorstep. All those plays. They ran at least 6 plays down there inside the red zone. So the 49ers, who hadn't been playing well, but you see, they know what the NFL is about. Hey, we had better step it up. So they tightened up down there. They marched the length of the field against the Eagles, and they leave a guy wide open to basically walk into the end zone, and you can't see it. Something is not right. So, this is just a little light on the fact that they got to step it up, man. They got to get much better than that. And they gave up 2 90-yard drives. That's another thing. 90-yard drives, 2 90-yard drives. Come on.
Man, that's 15 minutes of football.
I got to look at that closer. What's that?
That's 15 minutes of football when you're doing something like that with 90-yard play drives here. But you know what? Coming out of this game, and again, I'm not going silver lining because, like you said, there's no commemorative passes that you get for showing up and giving great effort in this league. This is all about winning and losing. Scoreboard can't be changed. This is not politics where people move the sticks. You win or you lose, and the process is going to tell you a lot on how you go forward. I mean, do you take away from this game, though? Because I think you said something significant, Gary, is that the 49ers went like this. This is not about winning quarters. This is about winning the ball game. We're going to wear your ass out for 60 minutes of football. We're not going to play 15 minutes of football. We're not going to play 30 minutes of football. We're going to play 60. And for a young team, I know it's not a young group in many places on the team, but as an overall coaching staff, quarterback, receiving core, really that side of the football, okay? Don't you take away from this game going, hey, the 49ers just showed us if we want to beat the Cowboys this week in Dallas, we got to play 60 minutes football because we can't be in 3rd and 9. We got to be 3rd and 1 going into that game to give us a chance to win this ball game. Am I right when I say that?
That's what it is. And, it's a great lesson for them to learn against a team that's seasoned. The Niners didn't come into this game thinking that they were playing the Super Bowl. So, they weren't all hyped up and everything, but they knew what it took to win the game. And that's what that team has. That they have that type of ability to where they know, look, we got to make plays in the red zone. They get down there, they make the plays. They made them defensively. It's almost like they said, hey, wake up, everybody. We cannot let them score. I don't care. They're down here, but we're not letting them get in. And you can see they just started winning the line of scrimmage. They hadn't been winning it for the entire first half. But when they tried to run, they tried to have one run down there. They handed the ball off to Miles. He had 4 guys on him. So that shows you that they know what it takes to win. And they know the precision. Even Garoppolo, he was missing people, but you better believe he wasn't hearing, lovey-dovey stuff from Kyle when he went over there on that sideline. Tell him, look, you got to get that ball. Hey, we're going to keep doing it. And you know what? The other thing is you saw they didn't play the kid at all.
Yeah,
They didn't play the kid at all because when they saw the Eagles were serious and they said, hey, we got to come back. We got to win. We came out here to win this game. And so they know what it takes to win. And this will be a lesson for this young Eagles team. I think they got a lot of good kids on that team. But this is what you go through. These are the growing pains. And they're good for you. And they'll look back years from now with a smile. After they learn, they go like, this is the way you win in the NFL. And they know about having things precise. And that's why, you're not going to be leaving, blow a coverage down in the goal line. You blow a club coverage, man, that's 7 points. And that's how vital it is. And so this is just really good. It's good stuff. And even though I'm being a little hard on them and everything, it's just because I know, hey, they need to learn these things, and it's going to make them better because I think they're capable of it. You can see that they are capable of playing on that level, but they got to do it. You got to do it all the time.
Gary, the matchup against Dallas, how do you think they match up against the Cowboys going on the road into Jerry's world?
Well, it's some similarities where, the Cowboys can score. And, they played a little better defensively. They played pretty good and have been able to force some turnovers. So they're playing better defensively, but we know they can score. And they got a lot of weapons, man, and they're really starting to now with the kid, Tony Pollard. I've been looking at him for a while. I'm saying, this kid.
Yeah.
Every time he comes in,
Gary,
I see
13 carries, 117 on the ground. I mean, he outrushed Zeke Elliott by 38 yards. He looks like a really good engine back there. He's kind of the speed guy that Dak doesn't or Zeke doesn't have any longer with that burst. It's kind of like, your power and your speed back. So it's another dimension being added to that offense now.
Yeah, and the Eagles defense has got their work cut out for them because you see the way they threw the ball in the first game. They can throw. They got weapons. These guys can take over a game, and then you got that running game also. So you got to be able to deal with both of those so the defense has really got their work cut out for them. That defensive line is going to have to show up, and they have got to get off the ball and really work to make sure that they shut down this running game, and then in the passing game, got to stay away from the big plays. They got to make them work for everything, and it's going to be a tough game, and they're going to have to play well if they want to win because this is going to be an important game for the Cowboys. and offensively, you know what they can do. Defensively, they're playing better. But I would kind of lean on the offense. They got to come out and run the ball and execute and play where they put together drives and they put the ball in the end zone. They're really almost kind of playing against themselves because they didn't get it done there where you're putting together a drive and you're putting the ball in the end zone. But every week, that's what it takes to win in the NFL. You got to put together drives and you got to put the ball in the end zone. That's what the offense has to do. The defense has to show up and, you got to shut people down. And it's a tough task every week. But this is going to be a game I think is going to be close because both teams, I think, have elements and they haven't really shown consistency all the time. So it's going to be interesting. I'm glad my paycheck isn't dependent on it. Let's put it that way. Because I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be a play here or there. But the big thing is which teams show up. The Cowboys have, I think, played two pretty good games. The Eagles have to be a little disappointed in some of the things they did in this last game. I just want to make sure they show up and play their best football, which I think they could go down there and surprise everybody because I think they're hyped up. I think they were disappointed that they let this one get away. So it's going to be a fun game, and you know how the people in Philadelphia feel about Dallas, man. Any mention of Dallas, anything, times I could be there. I'm giving out some pictures, and if I had any kind of picture with me playing with Dallas. Cobb, what is this here, man? What is this? I'm going, it's a picture, man. It's a picture. But it's serious around here. So you got some of the young players like a Devonta Smith. This is the first time he's dealt with this rivalry. Now, this rivalry means something to the people of Philadelphia. I mean, I couldn't emphasize that more. If you want to endear yourself to the people of Philadelphia, Mr. Smith, show up on Sunday. You play well and you help them beat the Cowboys, you're well on your way to people accepting you here in Philly. But you got to get it done against the Cowboys, man. You got to show up with a bad attitude on Sunday.
Absolutely. Hey, couple last ones here for you, Gary. Gary, what you said at the beginning about running the ball, I think it's going to be essential to keep Dak on the sidelines on Monday night because next Monday night when they take on Dallas in Dallas, to me, limit the Cowboys in possessions. That comes down to running the football. You mentioned the kid earlier that's on the practice squad. I think his name is Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell, that kid.
Kenneth Gainwell, he's the number 14. He's the backup running back. And the kid he's been playing well. The first two, he's a scat back. He's really good receiver out of the backfield. But that's Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah. So you agree that the offensive line versus the Dallas front seven, this is really where this game is going to be won next Monday night. Do you agree that our O-line has got to be able to dominate the point of attack? And again, I mean, you're talking about DeMarcus Lawrence being out. I don't know if Gregory's back because of the COVID stuff. I'm not sure if he's back. I mean, boy, this is to me, if I'm that O-line and I couldn't get that football in on inside the 5-yard line and I'm going into Dallas, man, I'll tell you what, man, I have to have a come to Jesus conversation with Lane Johnson's guys and sit there and go, guys, we can't let this happen again. The team is leaning on us. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it's fair, and it's definitely a conversation they need to have because they got some great players up there on that offensive line, and they got a lot of pride. Like Jason Kelsey, and they're going to probably have the young kid in there in place of Brandon Brooks. You got the youngster from Alabama in there. He'll be in there at right guard. They'll have Lane will still be in there, and you got the big kid over at left tackle, Mailata, and Sayomalo at the left guard spot. They got everybody there. They got to say, hey, man, we have got to run the football on these guys. And I think you make a good point in that controlling the ball, keeping it out of Dallas's hands. That's the way to go in there and beat them. So that's going to be quite a task, but I think they can get it done. But it's going to take, and this is a growth thing. These are great challenges for this young team.
Absolutely. Finally here. You know, I'll throw this stat out. It's probably way too early. He's 2-4, Jalen Hurts, and he's 53% completion percentage. Is that just stupid stats right now, and it's too early and it's too infant for us to sit there and get a trend? He's 2-4. He's 2-4. He's 2-4 in stats, and he's 53% completion percentage. Is it still too early of a litmus test when we're talking about evaluating him as a quarterback?
I think it is early, but he needs to improve, and I think that he probably would tell you that himself. You know, that he needs to get better, and I think he's got to watch. You know, I think if anything in this last game, he probably took too many shots downfield. You know, he's throwing that deep ball, and you know, he throws a nice deep ball and everything, but just throwing it up for grabs. Those intermediate routes, I would have liked to have seen him work with the tight ends more, and you know, complete some of those 10-yard routes rather than going for 60, 70 yards. You throwing the ball downfield 50 yards, trying to hit those all the time. The intermediate routes, but they need to get up where he's completing 20 passes, but 12 passes a game. We know that's not going to get it in the NFL. It's not.
Folks, do me a favor. Make sure you go over to Gary's website, GarryCobb.com. Am I correct when I'm saying that, Gary? People go over there and check out.
It's JAKIB.com. You go over there and check it out. I try to put something on there to let people know what's happening. But it's I'm on the move. The Birds, they got to get it done. But this Cowboy game, hey, the city lives for these Cowboy games. They shut down everything, man. The Cowboy game, you can't find anything open in Philadelphia. I mean, everybody's there watching these Cowboy games. So this is a big game. And as I said, the young players, all the rookies, they're going to be gone. They're going to have their mouth open. When they see the way people going like, hey, you guys better beat the Cowboys, man. If you don't beat anybody else.
Hey, like this, right? Hey, Devonta, this ain't the Iron Bowl.
That's it.
Hey, Gary, thank you, brother.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you, Gary, so much for doing this, man. Garry Cobb, Fox 29 in Philadelphia's very own Garry Cobb. We'll take a time out. Be right back here to get to your thoughts. National Football Show.